I want to talk about tariffs, U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods, and the potential for U.S. tariffs on, look at that, Mexican goods. We're talking about a victory for President Trump on the issue of illegal immigration and tariffs, holding that tariff stick over Mexico. Either help out or move out of the way. Dr. Nathaniel Cogley, interim head of the Department of Government at Tarleton State University, joining me on the wall. Let me get your opinion real quick on what I've been calling it the Trump victory, using tariffs over Mexico on immigration issues. So far, now it remains to be seen if Mexico follows through, and he's still holding the threat of tariffs over Mexico. I want to get your opinion on the president's strategy right now.
Well, the president is rather articulate on tariffs. He's been talking about this for 30 years. He has a lot of passion about trade policy. And yeah, the president's been effective in trying to move countries to more reciprocal type of relationships. You know, with China, it's a purely trade leverage to try to get a reciprocal arrangement. With Mexico, it's interesting, the immigration dynamic. He'd like them to take action on immigration and is using tariffs as leverage in that. It seems to be working for him. Part of the weakness, though, in the American system is our government is divided, and we have election cycles. So a country like China is much more politically stable. I wouldn't want to live there. It's a dictatorship, but single-party state, no opposition in a Congress, and the president can stay as long as he likes, and even if there's a successor, it's from the same party. So they have a little more stability, whereas I do think President Trump's been effective, but the American system means he can't make as strong long-term commitments as some of these other leaders can.
Well, let's look at both, in my opinion, China and Mexico. The power base is different in those countries. But even that power base, it would like to prosper and continue making money as their economy continues to grow. And I'm looking at China and Mexico. Those are two countries, as strong as they are dependent on customer number one on the planet, the United States of America. Advantage U.S., in my opinion. The U.S. created the Chinese economy, opened up that market. The U.S. created the prosperity through NAFTA. In Mexico, they managed it poorly, but heck, the U.S. through NAFTA created the 10th largest GDP on the planet. That's Mexico because of free trade. These two are still dependent on the U.S., so the president does have a lot of leverage, in my opinion. Advantage U.S.
Well, exactly. If he gets into a trade war with either country, we have more imports from these countries that we can put tariffs on than they have exports from our country that they can put tariffs on. So he does have an ability to win that exchange. It doesn't affect all industries the same, so there's some winners and losers when tariffs get introduced or you get into a reciprocal trade war. But yeah, there's a lot of area here for Trump to get countries to come to the table. It's just a question of they might be able to play a longer game than he can play, being a 1 or 2 term president.
I see that happening with China. China, unlike Mexico, China has been slowly moving toward independence from the U.S. They're leaders in 5G technology. I was floored months ago when I realized that these guys in China were the leaders in 5G. They got missile technology, all sorts of other technology. They're building it quickly, trying to develop some independence from the U.S. Mexico's still wholly dependent on the U.S. Economy and customer number one. But this would be a good time to try to balance out trade issues with China. We'll see if they could be balanced out in this current tit-for-tat that the president is doing this exchange with China right now.
I would like to point out, the president would rather have alternative solutions when it comes from illegal immigration with Mexico. He's talked a lot about border security, about changing our laws that have that asylum less abused. So he'd rather use other tools, and he seems to be defaulting into the tariff tool. But with China, it's
really doesn't have much other. He doesn't have a choice, though, don't you think, Dr. Nate? Because the Democrat House is not going to give him that change to asylum laws that it needs at the moment. That the Border Patrol leadership is calling for changes in asylum laws. Democrats in the U.S. House, they are absolutely under no pressure from no one except the president to try to change those laws, and they're not listening to Border Patrol, and the media is not pushing them in that direction either. So that change is likely not coming anytime soon.
It doesn't seem to be called for in the Democratic Party to be tough on immigration, or at least illegal immigration.
Yeah.
It seems to be a party that believes, the more the merrier. So yeah, the Democratic House is not really going to cooperate on that. The only flaw here is that it'd be very rare for I believe Trump can win re-election, but it's going to be very rare for a president to gain a House. So sometimes presidents start with the House from their own party, but if you're going to look back to a president gain the House, you have to go back to Truman. Presidents lose houses. They don't gain houses. So Trump's opportunity to have a Republican Congress was the first 2 years, and he's unlikely to gain it, although he could win re-election.
Thank you, Dr. Nate. Dr. Nathaniel Cogley from Tarleton State University joining me on The Wall.
History is unfolding, and you're listening to it on News Talk 710 KURV.